because of the $100 a mile, so none of that is surprising. And the guys are, you know, all 8 blades are out, barring weather or a doctor's appointment or something. We had one guy had a doctor's appointment in the middle of, on a Wednesday that he couldn't avoid. He goes, I don't want to lose my time blading, so he came in and bladed on Friday because he wanted to get his 40 in. And he wanted to work on his roads. So we are getting, you know, the guys are out there and they're working. It just takes time, especially in the spring. There's more work to do to blade a road, to fix a road for after 6 months of not having a blade on it. You just don't fix it one pass. So it takes time. Other than that, things are going good at the road department. And, you know, obviously we're short of help. We're not getting any applications. But we're managing through, and it's a big bonus for me to get, for the county, not me, but me, to get Jeff back. Even on a limited basis for the next couple months, and Jeff has informed me that he will work till freeze up.
Good. Good. Okay, anybody got anything else for Brent? And let's move to Oliver.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brent.
Yep.
So, just as a preliminary matter, since the Flicker Tail project was here earlier, I just wanted to let you guys know, Tim Ross, the guy who was here earlier, did reach out to me in advance of the meeting, and Dan, I believe, was copied on the email that I sent him back. He was asking me what his potential remedies or avenues were. I made sure to tell him that since I'm, you know, the advocate for the county, I can't advise him as to the course of action he should take. So I said, bring your concerns before the county commission. It's up to them. It's not up to me. So I just wanted to let you know that I had received some correspondence from him about that. Second thing, there have been some issues with the storage of vehicles that are evidence in criminal cases. I talked to Mr. Lout about that. I believe Dan was also sent a copy of the correspondence this morning or yesterday about some motorcycles, or rather one motorcycle that's the subject of a long-term investigation that's still ongoing. But I was concerned because there was an issue with how my predecessor handled some of the storage of those vehicles with respect to basically saying, all right, hold it until we need it, and then in the interim time nobody's being paid for storage or anything like that. I'm looking to avoid doing that if I can, especially for stuff that's been going on for 4 years. I'd rather keep stuff in a county lockup if I can, so we're actually initiating the process of moving that motorcycle out of Lout's towing and then into a secured county facility. That's the sheriff and I are working on that.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. It might cost, because obviously it's been there for a little while, but we're going to be working with them about exactly how much it's going to cost. So that's just going to be something that we work out. So that's the first thing. Secondly, obviously there have been a few high-profile cases that I had mentioned last time I was here. Since BCI Chief Boss and the Sheriff have been kind of cooperating on a number of cases together. One of them, which was a really bad one that was in Valley News over and over again, the same person over and over again a few months back, has actually been picked up by the feds. So the U.S. Attorney's Office is going to be prosecuting him. And the state cases are going to be put on hold while that process is ongoing. So some of the cases are going to be put on pause for the foreseeable future, which frees up time for everything else, pretty much. Third thing, my wife's finishing up her first year in law school, and after you finish your first year in law school, you get what's called practice papers by the Supreme Court to let you do limited practice under the supervision of an attorney. Way back in July of last year, I mentioned to you guys that that might be a potential reason you might be interested in hiring me, so now it's time for me to pay the piper and say that if she were interested, she'd be happy to help out with stuff. As of right now, I've been screening her off of cases because I don't want to involve her in county business when there are rules in place that say I don't want to involve a spouse without getting the county commission's permission to do that. So that was going to be my first request, was just to say, if you guys are comfortable, I'd like to involve her to the extent of like doing legal assistant filings, that kind of thing, in her experience gathering capacity. So if you guys have a problem with that, I do have to do it by motion though, because I think it's required that I request that because she's related to me.
Do we need a motion on it?
Yeah.
I will make the motion.
Second.
Motion made over here by Bromley, second by Stan. Any discussion on it? I think it's a great deal.
Hopefully it's worded right, that poor Dan over there is writing the stuff.
Sorry if I'm talking too fast, by the way.
No.
All those in favor
Dan's
say
a fast
aye.
typer.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Subject to the budget that I send to Dan, and that's going to be another discussion down the line, because I have some stuff that I will not need for the coming year, based on the stuff that I get from the State Bar Association. It is my intent to rehire Logan Grover, who was an office assistant last year, for the purpose of continuing the process of cleaning up the office and making electronic copies of records that are currently paper records. it's pursuant to my goal to move the office all paperless if we can, just to keep costs down. That's been successful for the past year, with 10, 9, however many months. With respect to current cases, it's just a matter of looking backwards and then getting everything that's already there, that's in gigantic boxes, into a computer or a hard drive or onto the county servers. So that's in progress. It's just a matter of having somebody able to do the work. So that was my goal. The big one here, a couple of months back, I requested your permission to work with Nelson County as their part-time state's attorney if they offered it. And what I didn't know at the time, and now know, is that they were looking to play a game of musical chairs, whereby Josh Fry, the state's attorney for McHenry County, would have an easier drive to Nelson County. So he ended up getting that position over me. And then McHenry County then turned around and said, Mr. Bromley, we would like you to do the state attorney work as well for us. And I said to them the same thing. I said to Nelson County, which is I need permission from my county to do that. I will say the position is also part-time, but more importantly, it does have support staff, which I intend to use Mr. Grover as a training ground to let him cross-train into a position. So that if he decides to go to law school, if that's his intent, which it currently is, he could very easily slot into my position down the line since he's a resident of Wells County. I'm just looking to try and play as many angles as I can to get competent legal representation into the county and into the rural North Dakota system if I can. That's been kind of my whole deal. So my question is whether you would give me permission to work in McHenry County on the same terms as the Nelson County request I made a couple of months ago, and I'm open to any questions about that.
Job load similar?
Yep. Yeah.
And you said there's assistants there. Right?
That's the thing, yeah. They have a slightly different way of doing it, whereby a lot of the legal work is shunted off to the legal assistant, and they have a person whose specific job it is to talk to victims of crimes, which is a big part of my caseload right now. So it would take a lot off my plate. I don't know whether or not I could convince the McHenry County Commission to maybe think about sharing resources. That is a question for way down the line, but it's a definite possibility.
Are they offering a fair wage?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And it's less about that. I mean, I was upfront with them. I said I intend to stay in Wells County. That's where I bought the property. That's where I'm going to be investing my money and time. They were like, yep, we get that. They're kind of pressed for choice because there aren't any attorneys there, just as there weren't any attorneys here. So,
Does their package include sharing any benefits or anything? Or?
I told them that would be something that could be worked out down the line. I didn't request any because it's part-time work. I'm not looking to get benefits from them necessarily. I am trying to alleviate the load somewhat on Wells County if I can, although I'm going to have to make a request in a couple of weeks to change my benefit package because I'll have a little baby girl. So.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So we'll see how that goes. But, yeah.
We need a motion on this?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that you work part-time in McHenry.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Second that.
Brad Miller, second. Discussion. I guess I have no problem with as long as you get our work done.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, that's what we said last time, but it didn't work out for you.
Yeah,
So
I didn't realize that the exact person that they wanted to have me replace was going to be the person who gets, it's literally just like a
Musical chairs.
Yeah.
And
So,
Just look out when you get in McHenry County, when you get up north of Highway 19, the road changes.
just to tell you, yeah. I'll tell you what, they don't have a road foreman, so they had their commission do all the road foreman
Yeah, we
stuff.
know all about
I know.
it.
they got a nightmare. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much. And that's everything else I got. So if you have any questions for me about ongoing stuff, I'm an open book. I know Chris isn't here right now, so.
She said, I thought of something. I can't-
Talked to Carla, she said communication's been
Yeah.
good. So
Oh, good.
that's-
I'm glad to hear that because it's been a major issue in other places that I've worked, and they're very pro about communication with me too, so that's great to know.
Actually, Chris was in here earlier, or the question was about a police report or whatever. You guys ever work
with the
on that?
paper, I think, right?
Yeah.
Which
Sure.
one's
The sheriff's report
Sheriff's
in the
report or
paper.
whatever, like your office and his. information that you can let the public know.
Oh, yeah, no, that was actually a thing that I talked to him about. I'm not sure exactly what the procedure is going to be, but yes, the point is to make the public more generally aware of the ongoings in Wells County as we get high-profile cases, I guess.
Yeah.
I work with Chief Foss in a limited capacity where he just tells the Herald Press, hey, this is generally what's
And
going
he's
on.
been pretty good about that.
Well, and he will write a little summary up on rare occasion, right? Once in a while.
The nice thing has been over the past few months on court day, generally Ann's actually just come to the court and reported everything that's been going on, so that's been very helpful to have the public generally aware of what's going on. I think last time it was Harvey high school kids came in and actually observed court. I was very sorry because they were probably bored out of their minds, but I think the Pheasant and Bowden school is coming next week as well. So.
Good.
Yeah.
Try to make it exciting when some of these kids come in.
I try to, but it's like I don't want to have them come in when I'm talking about people who are accused of stuff that kids shouldn't be hearing.
Another quick question, I think Chris is somewhat reluctant to do this at times because he doesn't know what should stay and what should not stay. We're talking about, for a long time already, having an auction.
Yeah,
Get rid of that
Boy, do we got
stuff.
Yes.
there's 10 or 11 of them.
Well, but there's guns, there's all kind, I think there's more stuff than anybody realizes. And
But
number
there's
one,
a-
it's an income that we can get, and secondly, just get rid of it.
We have privately talked about it. I intend to the extent possible, help out however I can with respect to
Those
organizing.
vehicles alone make Mellow Baltrish look good.
The guns are a little tricky because it's kind of hard to sell them, but I'll work with him to figure that out.
Okay.
Chris is working on it actively.
Thank you.
Get a list together, yeah.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Perfect. Got any questions for us?
No, I mean, unless you guys have anything you think I should know. I mean,
Thank you.
I haven't talked to Dennis, Stan, or Brian in a little bit, but I was going to reach out about the wind project thing in advance of today's meeting. I just couldn't make the time, so
That's fine.
I appreciate that, though.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Larry, you here? Yeah.
Okay, back again. I guess I'm going to start off by asking some questions, and just bear with me for a few minutes because I'll get to the point of why these questions are going to be asked. You know, we talked about EC levels and all that, and understanding this. So I guess what I'm going to ask you guys, what is EC levels?
I don't know.
Sounds like a chemical to me.
Okay, it's actually not. It's electric conductivity is what it is. And that's what we use at our test sites to monitor what the sulfate levels, because there's a correlation between sulfate levels and EC levels. Complicated, right? Okay. And you got, I think Tammy gave you guys all this. I guess if you have any questions, you know, we started the pumps on April 9th, pumped at a rate of 2,200 gallons a minute. And within 48 hours or less of starting those pumps, we have Minnesota Valley testing labs come out and test that because that's in our operations plan with the state Department of Environmental Quality. And obviously the test levels were low at that point, the EC and the sulfate levels. Let's see, where are we at here? Sulfate levels would have been, I guess you guys have all read that, correct? So we don't need to go through that all, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason I'm asking these questions is some of you guys get people calling you and asking you these questions. You know, why are we pumping? Why are we not pumping? And obviously, you don't know the answer to all those questions. That's why the best thing that you can do for yourselves and for us is tell them you don't know, they need to call us. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have these problems. People start talking to somebody else, they don't know the answer, and don't expect you guys to know all the answers for all this. It's a complicated process. Brian Brynjolfsson and myself, we're the ones that kind of working with the Hertzfield project and monitoring and taking care of that. And I guess, you know, we're gonna ask that you trust us enough to do our job, and more or less, just anybody that calls, refer them to us. Our phones don't ring. You know, people are upset about whatever, our phones don't ring. And to be real honest with you, it's getting kind of tired of explaining all this stuff all the time, and nobody really understands it, and they don't expect you to understand it. Just trust us.
I'm a little out of the loop. There are people that have complained.
Yeah.
I got several phone calls, okay? And I did protocol, I called Doc, and I told him about it.
Mm-hmm.
And where it went from there, that was his game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and you guys took care of it. You
And
took
I
care of it.
talked to you myself, but I mean, I just wanted to know the sulfate level was where I was at.
Yeah, and that's another thing. When, like, this, the first 48 hours, we don't find that out till 8-10 days down the road.
Right, and
You know, that's just the way the labs are.
Right,
But,
and you didn't say that either though that day.
Well, no, it,
You didn't say that, and I don't even think it was, they were running 48 hours when I asked you about it.
No,
They-
you
they
just
were-
called and asked if they were
were
pumping.
running because I was
Yep.
by there and they were running through the Chaseley Road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I seen it and I just, out of the blue, wanted to know.
Well, that water doesn't
Well,
go
you didn't know
underneath
the
the
sulfate
Chaseley,
level.
or it does
It does.
eventually.
You
Yeah.
tested, but you didn't say it takes
Oh,
8
yeah,
to 10
yeah,
days.
you explained it to me like that.
Bottom line, what the hell is the good if it is low?
I know, and whatever, I know that, but I mean, I just wanted to know.
You
And
just
then
have no
all you
problem.
had to say was it was gonna take 8 or 10 days, and then if anybody called, I could have said, hey, 8 or 10 days, they'll get the results.
But what they're
But-
saying, and you guys just haven't called them right now.
I know. but-
Yeah, because the more people, you know, like you and I talked yesterday, Boone,
I
the
know.
more people that get involved in this,
The more it
worse the
gets
matter
messed up.
gets.
That's right.
And,
The words get twisted
Yep.
down the line.
And they
Yep.
pick up their own information.
yeah, Yeah.
Whatever.
yeah.
I'm not mad or frustrated, I was
Oh,
just.
no, you know,
I'm
you and
not
I
mad
had a
over the deal
conversation
either.
yesterday.
I mean,
Yep.
Well, the people that call us have their own agenda, and that's why they're
And-
best to.
Bingo, bingo.
And-
And that's why they call you guys instead of us.
And
Because-
Will you
sadly,
answer your phone for anybody that calls?
You darn right I will. If I don't
Okay.
answer it, I'll be calling back if they leave me a
I
message.
just wanna know.
Yep. Because, but, you know, there's 5 of us on this board and Tammy's in our office and
I know.
Tammy's usually.
we have never had a phone call.
Tammy answers all the time, and if not, she calls back.
Yep. Yep.
And if somebody calls me, I send them to Larry.
why are you pestering Tammy all the time, Bo?
Not all the time. Once in a while, lately.
Everybody does.
Listen, Tommy, working on that restraining order.
I do have one more question when you're done.
I don't
Not
know.
about that, about
Anybody else have any questions? I guess, you know, that's the only way we're gonna simplify this.
yes.
Is automatic answer, call those guys. You know, because obviously we know the most about it, and, you know, and now you guys have all the max levels and all that, you have all that too. But I think it's still just the best that they call us.
Well,
Yeah, and the pumps are off, they've been off for a while already. So, I guess with that, I'll just ask you, any questions for me other than,
There's a culvert
That's what I was gonna bring.
east of Russell Klein's houses, it's a 6-foot culvert, Henry brought it up, he texted me again today while we're here. The county pays for a 6-foot culvert, but they
No.
do the dirt work, or how's this work now?
So,
it's on the river, or not?
It's a river crossing, that's what Henry
Is
said.
this the same, Russ Newmiller texted me too?
Yes.
Is that the same, are we talking about the same thing?
I,
Text me like an hour ago.
yes.
I know, Henry texted me, but whatever, they're on the
So-
township board out there.
I was brought aware of this culvert about 3-4 weeks ago by Russell Newmiller. I went out immediately and looked at the culvert, and the bottom appears to be rusted up. It's and I think it's a 60-inch, but whether it's a 60 or a 72, I couldn't get a real good measurement on it. If you measure this pipe from the top to the bottom, they probably think it's a 72 because the bottom is rusted out. I measured it side by side and I got around 60, irregardless. At that time, Russell asked me what the culvert policy was. He says, if this is a 5-foot culvert or bigger, don't you guys gotta buy the culvert? And I said, no, not anymore, we changed our culvert policy. It is your baby. And then the response that I got from that was, well, you know, I mean, it's working. This is Russell talking to me. We had a long conversation. It's working. It's not collapsing. Yeah, I think this is going to be, if it's going to be our township that has to pay for it, I think it's going to be one of these situations where we kind of watch it and we'll see how bad it gets. And then if we have to do something to where it forces our hands, we'll do it. And it kind of left, that was where the conversation left off. Then Larry and I were talking about this culvert, and there's a 72-inch culvert, and originally I thought we were talking about the one under the highway. After conversations between Larry and I, we realized it was the one east of Russell, or of Kleinsaucer's. I told Larry that I had looked at it, and at that point we determined that it could be as part of the Jim River system.
Yeah. If it's on the Jim River,
Yep.
then that's different again.
Yes. So then, if that is the case, we would be, I do believe, paying for a 60 or a 72-inch
60
culvert.
inch.
Yeah.
It's 60, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a 60, but if you, like I said, if you measure it from top to bottom, because it's washed out and rusted away in the underneath, irregardless. So, and we're not talking about a 100-foot culvert. You know, we're probably talking 50. I think I
50
measured
to
it out as
60
50.
feet. 50
Yeah, I
to
think
60
it,
feet
50 is what's in
put on
there.
his tax.
You know, top of my head, $10,000 culvert. The question is I've been busy and I haven't looked, but I think if it's in the river system, we're only responsible for the culvert, or are we responsible for the dirt work also?
You know, I don't remember. You'd have to pull up the
Yeah, I'd have to
policy.
pull it up.
Look, that
Yeah.
was your answer to me. You
Yeah.
don't know who pays for the dirt work
Yeah,
when I talk to you.
and I can tell you that this is a 4-hour project. It's not gonna be a lot of money to put the pipe in. The cost of this project is to pay for the pipe.
Right.
Literally, even I with the Traco could put this pipe in 4 hours. There's 4 or 5 feet of dirt over the top. There's not a lot of work to do. But if it is part of the Jim River system, then yes, we are on the hook. And it's right at the beginning. we'd have to be, because where the Jim River starts is over in that area, correct?
It's on that, west side of Highway 3.
It's on the west side, so it would be in the Jim River system. So, yeah, realistically, we should be ordering, I would guess, a 60-inch pipe and replacing the pipe. But right now, it is not causing a problem.
Well, I was gonna say, on one hand, you thought it was, in your opinion, needed to be replaced, but then the township, if they have to pay for it, thought it was good enough, so.
Right. It's
If it's
it's
good
one of
enough
those
for them, is it good
situations
enough
where
for us?
there's water going through that's not washing out, it's not collapsing from the top, the bottom is rusted out. If I had to put a priority number on it, I promise you it's not priority 1. Okay? But,
Right.
I think keep in mind the safety issue.
But, right, and the issue is I think that, I'll speak, I don't care, I get myself in trouble all the time. If the township was paying for it, it would be priority 10. But if the county's gotta pay for it, the township thinks it should be priority 1. Go ahead, you can put that in the paper. Okay, so,
I say, my suggestion is to table it for now.
You
So-
sure it wasn't go for rolls, right? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
This is not related to this, but is that pipe been ordered for over by Sykeston?
yes, I've spoke to him.
Because True North Steel hardly ever misses a trick, and I haven't seen a bill.
We won't get a bill till delivery. Yep. Nope, we will not get a bill for delivery, until delivery, and delivery at the time when I ordered it a couple weeks
They
ago,
have
3
a
weeks ago.
contractor lined up, or is it gonna sit on the ground?
They got a contractor lined up. They've, Pat Beal is the contractor that's gonna be putting it in.
Would it be advantageous to send the county culvert policy to the township supervisors in each township?
Probably wouldn't hurt. I don't mind asking the questions. It's pretty forward now. Any pipe underneath the township road is now the township's responsibility. It doesn't matter about the size.
Just
Unless
let them know
it's-
that.
But
Yep.
just for information.
And that,
I
yep,
think that-
unless it's in an assessed drain, then then we have another issue, or if it's in the river system. There's
Yeah,
basically
river channel.
almost 3 amendments to the culvert policy.
Yeah.
And honestly, 90% of the culverts in Wells County are township responsibility, besides the few river ones and assessed drains.
Yeah.
So there's one other thing, Garrison Diversion is here, they want to give the canal away, is the Waterboard interested?
It was last year.
We had a person that come to us a few years ago, and back when Louis Clockey was still alive, Louis and I went and met with the Garrison Version people. And, we asked them if, we could put water into it. And they really didn't know so much about that. Well, if you get somebody that wants to irrigate back out of it, then we're in favor of that. I guess we can talk about that at our next meeting if you want to put that on the agenda. I don't know that we really want that responsibility.
No.
We're not to that point.
Stan
We need
wants
to
it.
spend.
I think it'd be better off
Stan
just
wants to farm up to it.
give the thing back to the landowners and let them do what they want to it.
Well, if Garrison takes title to the Garrison diversion facilities, yes, we'll be able to take water into the Rockford Canal, because that has an outlet on the James River.
Right.
No problem. And then, the other thing, we don't think we're going to be subject to the Boundary Waters Treaty. That was the federal government that signed the Boundary Waters Treaty that prohibits water from the Missouri River Basin going into the Red River Basin. But it's so stupid because the whole northern border of Minnesota, there's biota and water transfer, and there because Lake of the
I
Woods.
don't care about that.
And then Montana, there's 3 separate places where the water goes across, and so, just prohibiting us from putting Missouri River water to the Red River Basin, it's really kind of stupid, but if we take over, we will be flexible.
Kip Kobar was in here and said they're working with the McCluskey Canal to.
Yeah, they offered everything to us, Larry.
Really?
Last week at the meeting, they offered everything.
Developments.
Title transfer, they call it.
So then they would.
Wildlife groups stop this, so don't they have some?
I asked that, there's gonna be 26 wildlife easements on
There's
this,
some.
and, well,
They didn't really know how many there
There's
were.
like some plots land. And
But
some-
other than
yellow
flooding
plus
along
sign.
Tree, there's no way that water's going to come from the Missouri River system.
no.
Correct?
No.
Well, they're gonna have to put a pipeline in,
Because
otherwise they haven't got the dam built, they ain't got no way to figure out how to get the water from the dam to the Rockford Canal.
Right,
But there is irrigating coming out of McCluskey
right.
at this point.
Any way we can figure out how to give 12 bridges back?
We tried.
No. we
I
talked
asked
about
that question too.
No, there are.
The county already owns them, yeah.
The gift that keeps giving.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna, you got anything else?
Nope,
Thank you.
unless you got something, Tanner.
I have something totally not waterboard, being I have a
Yeah.
captive audience.
Sure.
So at the last commissioner meeting, it was reported that we lost the 1.2 federal funding for the lagoon project. So I have to give high praise to our District 14 representatives. Without Jerry Klein, Robin Weiss, and John Nelson, the North Dakota legislature, through the Department of Environmental Quality, restored that $1.9 million in funding. You may have heard we opened bids on Monday. I was hoping for 4.5 million, it came in at 6.1. So Jerry Klein is still being my champion in Bismarck. He is working so hard, talking to different groups, seeing if there's that little pot of money here or there. So I'm still working with him, but if you see Jerry Klein or Robin Weiss or John Nelson or even Senator Magrum, Senator Magrum sponsored the bill, House Bill 1577, tell them thank you. This was huge for Wells County, so.
Oh, I guess speaking on those lines of bills, Senate Bill 2276, I've talked to you about this before, joint water boards throughout the state. That bill was passed in the Senate back here early in, I think it was in January. It went through the Senate, that's where it started. Senator Lewick is the one that sponsored that. That would have required that all counties in North Dakota would have to join a joint water board. And then also, along with that, you'd have to pay a 2 mil fee per year to be members of those boards. And whether they would have got it to that point this legislative session or not, I don't know. But we as a water board took the stance that, we don't want that. If you can't manage water on that large of a scale. And We worked with our attorney. Obviously, we had to help pay for him. He works with a few other counties. All these counties that these attorneys worked for got together, and our attorney, Sean Fredericks out of Fargo, Jack Dwyer, he's our executive director for North Dakota Water Resource Districts Association. Long story short is we got that bill changed, we got it amended, and now it will be on a project basis